Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Hassard, the Relaxed Dentist. The story I've got for you today I think is a very interesting one, and it's about case diagnosis and presenting treatment to patients. A while ago I was visiting a dentist in their office. This was a younger dentist, and at 10 o'clock they had a patient booked in for a broken tooth, and we'd been talking about things, what you say to the patient if you want to explain to them about crowns and all that. You say this, the patient says that, you say this, the patient says that, and then they have the crown. So the dentist knew all about what to say, but also I gave him a bit of advice about the diagnosis. I said, before you get into any of that discussion, make sure you diagnose the tooth fully, and that means you need to take a couple of x-rays, a bite wing and a PA of the tooth. And the dentist said, oh, I'm not so sure about that, I'll just see what happens. I said, no, look, trust me, I've been doing this for a long while, I'm an experienced dentist. You need to take a bite wing and a PA, work out fully what's going on with the tooth, and then discuss it with the patient. The dentist said, oh, look, I'll just do things my way. I said, well, okay, I've told you twice, I can't do any more than that. So anyway, the patient came in, sat down, dentist looked at the tooth, it was broken, fair enough, and it looked like it was a good candidate for a crown. So he starts saying the things that I told him to say. And within a very short time, the patient had said, okay, let's do the crown. Terrific, that's great as far as it goes. But then suddenly the dentist thought, oh, if I'm doing a crown on this tooth, I better get an x-ray just to make sure it's okay. So he took a PA of the tooth, and what do you know? The tooth had had a root filling started on it, but not completed. So suddenly he realised that he needed to spend an extra 2 visits on the tooth, and it was going to cost an additional $1,400 over what he'd quoted the patient. The patient's reaction was very interesting. Up until that point, the patient had been totally trusting, totally going along with the dentist. But the moment the dentist said, actually it's going to take 2 more appointments and cost you an extra $1,400, so the quote had now gone from $1,800 to $4,200, all of a sudden the patient lost trust in the dentist. Just totally lost trust, and he started looking at him skeptically and said, oh, I think I need to think about that. I think I might get a second opinion. So the dentist totally lost the patient because of that muck up with diagnosis. So what's the moral of this story? Well, the moral of this story is, before you ever explain to a patient about what they need in terms of treatment or cost, make sure that you've totally diagnosed the tooth, that you know with absolute certainty what the tooth's going to need, what the cost will be, and then you can speak with the patient with authority and you can give them the honest truth. But if you just jump in there and make an assumption or look at things and go, yeah, that looks pretty much like this, it'll be this, you're just really leading the patient up the garden path, and also you're opening yourself up to losing the trust of the patient, which is a huge problem. So make sure you diagnose every tooth completely before you start talking to the patient and explaining what's needed. Now, if a patient said to me, what's going on with my tooth, and I hadn't completed my diagnosis, all I'm going to say to the patient is, I'm still working it out. I'll tell you as soon as I've got it worked out. So very, very simple. I'm Dr. Mark Hassard, the Relaxed Dentist.